Mario 64 is a better game than Astro Bot. That's kind of an insane thing to say, right? I mean, it's Astro we're talking about. One of the best looking, most inventive, charming, relentlessly fun modern platformers since, well, Mario. But hear me out. Despite how undeniably good Astro Bot was this year, it still feels like something is ultimately missing from the game compared to Mario's first 3D outing from, God, 28 years ago. And look, I get it, old game is old. But take a look beyond the simple graphics and awkward camera, and you'll see Mario 64 is still the benchmark for what makes a truly special platformer. From level design interconnectivity, meaningful progression as you gradually master power-ups and movement mechanics, a sense of place as you explore Peach's castle, discoverability as you uncover castle secrets, and, most importantly, longevity in the zeitgeist of gaming. It's not just that Mario 64 has become a cultural artifact of 3D platformers, it's that its legacy lives on beyond its in-house spiritual sequels, artificially scarce remasters, and even the likes of Nintendo's own developers. I'm talking about the hidden world of ROM hacks that make sure Mario 64 is forever.
The need
Save room.
Okie dokie.
Alright gang, hold on. Let's get one thing straight. This video is not a tutorial on where to go or how to download ROM hacks. Legit, I can't tell you how to do that here. And before any of Nintendo's lawyers show up at my doorstep for doing any kind of piracy, please, I own 2 separate cartridges of Mario 64, okay? I've done my part. Okay, back to the video. A couple of months ago, I stumbled across the trailer for Mario in the Multiverse, an ambitious ROM hack designed by Rovertronic that features Mario, well, in the multiverse, with levels containing a range from a variety of IP that fundamentally change how the game is played. Kirby, SpongeBob, Pokemon, Crash Bandicoot, Pizza Tower, Doom, and so much more. It looked fucking insane. It's so insane, it made me finally start a running list of ROM hacks to try out for myself. What I didn't expect to find, however, was how thriving the ROM hack community was, and just how ambitious a majority of these hacks actually were. Many of them the size of full-fledged titles. There's Decades Later, a recreation of Mario 64 and all its levels set and re-envisioned 20 years after the events of the base game. There's Super Mario Star Road, another hack designed as a sequel with an emphasis on platform difficulty, challenging just how well you've mastered Mario 64's mechanics. There's B3313, a surrealist deconstruction of Mario 64 that is designed to disorient you the further you attempt to explore, where level design just doesn't make sense the way it should, and rug pulls aren't just frequent, they're a main feature of the game's enjoyment. And there's Mario vs. WarioWare, a minigame compilation consisting of Mario 64 objectives like collecting red coins and defeating Bowser, to unique ideas like hopping balloons against Wario and playing Battleship to hit bloopers. Indeed, the list went on and on with some of the most insane renditions of Mario 64. Shotgun Mario, Hot Tour Mario, Golf with your Mario. Oh, and those Find Luigi minigames you've seen on Twitter? No, not that Luigi. There's a ROM hack here for that too. While some of these are, admittedly, fun experiments or gimmicky hacks to try out for a silly hour, the majority of the top-rated hacks all centralize that same design philosophy embodied by the original game. It is still all about dynamic expression through inspired level design that constantly tests mechanical understanding. Unsurprisingly, ROM hack designers generally thus feel the same about Mario 64. It isn't an unpopular opinion to say that Mario 64 is one of the most important games of all time. I'd go out on a limb to say it's not even a hot take to call Mario 64 one of the best games ever made. Actually, it's like the furthest thing away from a hot take, probably. A cold take, if you will. Well, not that cold take. You know what I mean. Still, I don't think I'm being hyperbolic here. Even among YouTube videos, a simple search for Mario 64 will net you countless video essays and retrospectives with tens of thousands of views. Some of them with millions of views, even. The videos range from personal accounts and admiration for the game, development history and impact, and in-depth analyses of, usually, Mario's mechanics. But no matter what content makes up the video, the consensus is always the same. Mario 64 is a really special game. Chief among any of Mario 64's praise is almost always the same thing: Mario's movement. It's not just that the core mechanics offer enough complexity to let you platform in any number of ways around the level. It's that the combination of how you platform allows for unparalleled dynamic expression, the likes of which we still rarely see. To this day, Nintendo is still iterating on that mechanical success, while no other games, within AAA, ever really come close to capturing that level of platform richness. And while we could wax poetic about all these side jumps and long jumps people use to exploit the game in some truly insane ways, in reality, it's actually everything that supports dynamic expression that makes Mario 64 as special as it is. Peach's Castle, and all the levels found within, is peak sandbox platforming. There's a realized world here, one we can move around in and gradually peel back the layers. The paths to stars serve as platform tutorials. Secrets serve as mechanical skill checks. I mean, just coming out of the pipe and seeing the lawn in front of the big white castle and hitting some jumps toward the bridge just feels like Christmas every single time. And that feeling just continues. The more you move and explore, the more you're challenged and rewarded. Everything connects back to support mechanical engagement. In short, movement is just the half of it. It's no surprise that many developers have embodied this philosophy when designing their respective ROM hack. Super Mario's Star Road is all about that interplay between complex movesets and challenging platforming. Like the original, there is simplicity in the approach to design. You can easily see the path Mario needs to go, but it's the individual platforming on that path where the ultimate engagement is reinforced. And later stages, of course, reflect that gradual progression. B3313 leverages this same philosophy, but uses it instead to subvert expectations. The enjoyment comes in how the game will fuck with you. And the means to see these subversions is to engage with the hack the same way you would the original: exploration, discovery, and platforming. If it weren't for ROM hacks like these, I'm not sure there'd be many AAA games doing it as good as Mario 64 ever did, even among other Mario games. Okay, think about it. While Odyssey is considered as one of the best modern platformers, its mechanical depth isn't as well supported by an interconnected hub that drives and rewards curiosity. Sure, each kingdom has its fair share of hidden moons to find, but compared to the design of Peach's Castle, the modern alternative of bite-sized hubs just doesn't hit the same. Mario Galaxy suffers from this too. Despite its masterful levels and sublime quiet sadness, which I agree with Jacob Geller, there just isn't much to chew on mechanically when not inside one of the galaxies. And on the reverse end of this sentiment is Mario Sunshine. Despite Isle Delfino offering a physical place to explore and move around in, there are significantly less opportunities for discoverability, all while relying on FLUDD as a mechanically necessary tool instead of fully leveraging Mario's core moveset. I'm a Sunshine apologist, but even I have to admit, this just doesn't hit the same either. After all, what good is complex movement mechanics if you don't have a rich playground to truly challenge yourself in? Still, if not even the likes of Nintendo, one of the most consistently creative publishers of video games we have, are leveraging design the same way they did all those years ago, then, of course, other AAA publishers aren't either. And it's the absence of all the little things that elevate platformers that have made Mario 64 ROM hacks flourish the amount they have. And what better game to use as the base for experimentation and creativity than with one of the best platformers of all time. I recently spoke with the design leads of Mario vs. WarioWare to gauge thoughts on how they felt about Mario 64 and the larger platforming scene. When asked about Mario 64's importance, each designer shared similar sentiments. Pablo's Corner explained that Mario 64's charm and simple yet complex controls made the game both accessible to draw in wide audiences and, to this day, unrivaled in its creative ambition. Graphic artist Mel Oldenburger called not just the mechanics revolutionary, but its sense of place and exploration so unique that even with the library of Mario games, was 64 only recently challenged with Mario Odyssey. But it was programmer Arctic Jaguar who gave perhaps the most striking answer of the bunch, saying, "While many newer games may be objectively superior, what they usually aren't is revolutionary. And in turn, they fail to leave a lasting impact on players that keeps them coming back for more." This sense of revolution still hasn't really gone away, even every time I boot up Mario 64. It's still mind-blowing to think that, depending on the height of Mario's jump, the level Dire Dire Docks will start with a corresponding amount of water inside. Or how staring up toward the sun of the castle central ceiling transports you to a challenge level with the winged cap. Even just thinking about the endless stairs still evokes some uncanny feeling. Has there been anyone else who has gone sicko mode in a platformer quite like this? I don't think so. And there's stuff like this happening left and right throughout the game. To think that that same design spirit lives on in the ROM hacking community has since emboldened me to continuously dip my toes in various hacks throughout the latter half of the year. All of them, unsurprisingly, give me that feeling of wonder and discovery. The same one I felt when I first played Mario 64 on the floor of a friend's house while eating sopa maruchan straight from the styrofoam cup. A revolutionary world of platforming at my fingertips. For Mario, not much has changed. For everybody else, they've yet to even arrive. I can't help but think about Astro Bot in all of this. The universally acclaimed 3D platformer with a 94 Metacritic score and Game Awards Game of the Year nomination. I mean shit, even I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 on my own backlogged account back when I first played the game. I genuinely liked it, and indeed still think it's amazing, with much about it to praise. And yet it's Melroy's words about Mario 64 that still ring in my head every time I think back to my time with PlayStation's beloved robot. Does Astro really have a sense of place? Does Astro truly have its own identity? Does Astro leverage interconnectivity, progression, or exploration to elevate mechanical complexity? The answer, I think, is no. Aside from Astro's admittedly cute design, bubbly personality, and that quirky, catchy theme, there isn't much about Astro you can claim as his own. That is to say, his identity is intrinsically tied to that of PlayStation and its history. Not that that's necessarily a terrible thing. Levels like Ape Escape, God of War, and man, that incredible Loco Roco level are each in their own regard effectively charming. It's fun to catch robot monkeys, and the Loco Roco music made me smile nonstop throughout the length of the level. But admittedly, over the course of the entire game, the interaction with PlayStation's IP does little beyond the initial excitement at recognizing a reference. So, what's there to really claim about Astro? Worse even is the sense of place. Simply, there just isn't one that belongs solely to Astro. outside the hub that belongs to the out-of-service PS5 and its litany of characters, the levels out in space don't necessarily inspire a sense of interconnectivity. That isn't to say the levels suck or aren't fun, not even close, but rather that there is no tangible sense of progression from one level to the next. Mastering the slow-mo mechanic does not inform platforming around with the rocket dog. To be fair, all of them are fun to use in their own right, and they carry the same level of creativity you'd find in something like Mario Wonder. But that the individual levels just don't compare with wandering around Peach's castle while gradually mastering mechanics and discovering secrets. And look, I know these games are doing two different things. It's not necessarily a one-to-one comparison here. But I'd also argue it isn't unfair to compare the two when the ultimate goal is to create a fun platformer by leveraging creative-driven levels. In that regard, Astro Bot will just never compete. Of course, it's a bit ridiculous to pin a recent game against an all-timer like Mario 64. But really, Astro is emblematic of an ethos that is just missing from AAA platformers. It's no revolutionary. It's another iteration. In short, no modern AAA platformer is achieving what Mario 64 did all those years ago. This is why I found ROM hacks to be so impactful. The fact that these designers have not forgotten the philosophies of 25 plus years ago allows for levels of interactivity within a platformer unrivaled in today's gaming. You don't need pretty graphics or ray-traced lighting to make a game good. You just need meaningful engagement and ambitious design. Mario 64 and its ROM hacks are the benchmark in that regard. A 3D platformer with an endless world of creative expression. A place you can visit time and time again. To test yourself. To uncover the same secrets you did on your last save. A game whose design has gone unchallenged in the larger zeitgeist. A platformer unrivaled in its resonance. It's peak gaming. And it'll be a long time before we get anything else like it. Especially from AAA. But until then, at least I can launch a ROM hack to remember how relentlessly engaging 3D platformers can actually be. Let me know what you think of Mario 64. Is it better than Astro Bot? And are there any other 3D platformers you think are just as good? I'll be waiting for you down in the comments. Until next time, my name is Christian, this is Save Room, and we'll see you in the next one. Merry Christmas too. Yeah, by the way, yeah, Happy New Year.